You got to love our system of everlasting hypocrisy. Now, people, certain people, have accused me of being a hater. I am provided such an illustrious title because in many of my videos I have spotlighted misleading falsehoods. Because I have invited you, the listener, to think for yourselves, to question authority, and to surrender faulty reasoning. It is no secret that my white American counterparts have accumulated physical wealth as a result of a legacy of wrongdoing. This has nothing to do with white guilt, so I don't want to hear it. I don't care about it, nor am I hoping to benefit from it. This is not a disapprobation of those who did not directly participate. It is a showing of mild contempt for those who pretend this is not reality. It is scorn for those whose argument is that genocide, slavery, and other nasty institutions were, are merely an excuse used not to succeed, not to achieve the American dream. Oh my goodness. That it is a socialist route to come in possession of government favor. Well, fuck the government. Fuck the government. They are the ones that functioned as the agent for influential jerks, deadly jerks, the likes who still continue to harm the American public. Notice, this includes everyone who is not an oligarch or their minions. It is merely an expressed fact that as a group, whites have benefited in many ways, while blacks and others were kept in our place. This is not to say that we cannot succeed on an individual level. We have proven this is so. However, this does not eradicate actuality. Now, we can't get too uppity, us blacks and other darker pigmented people. Of course not. There is a system which feverishly works to preserve its status quo while violating principles of justice. To hell with meritocracy, right? Oh boy, it is a fact. Many people have went to jail as a result of cannabis cultivation and distribution. It is a fact that often not. These folks are considered dregs of society. It is a fact that disproportionately, the sentencing and wrecking of lives is clearly seen within the so-called Black Commonwealth as a result of this drug war. Of course, substitution is the name of the game. As more and more overt measures are retired, more subtle measures are implemented. Not to mention, cops and prosecuting attorneys would never, ever lie on a search warrant, coach witnesses on how to testify or plant evidence, right? Now, that greed has made it so that whites can openly profit from cannabis sales. Things slowly are inching in a different direction. Unfortunately, this war on drugs has and will continue to wreck lives for many, many years to come. Oh, it's hilarious that many Fox News junkies and black watchdogs, oh, I have been accused of being one of those. Okay, and black watchdogs for oppressive interest. Funny how they are so concerned with their religious pursuits of justice, their racial politics. Funny, their Hypocrisy. Funny, huh? Funny that many Fox News junkies and their watchdogs for oppressive interest, no matter if you want to call it globalism, capitalism gone mad, white domination, aka white supremacy, whatever. Funny how they still want to conveniently forget that the founding fathers grew hemp crops. Heck, Thomas Jefferson improved on the hemp brake, a machine to separate the fibers from the stalks. Yes, he made what I and others consider to be an advanced marijuana processing facility. It is these Nazis that refuse to acknowledge hemp has so many uses. It supplies medicine, energy, oil, paper, food, rope, and clothes. Yet many of these folks, many of them, will advertise themselves as environmentalists, good Christians, and pontificate under other so-called morally excellent titles, all while they turn their back on their fellow man. Is it not ethical to use sustainable resources? Should we not frequently use resources that pollute our environment? How about reforming our design principles for consumer goods? Something to think about. Lately, another casualty of this drug war, Mr. Jerome Scott, has been yoked with a felony distribution charge. This was after 150 cannabis plants reportedly were found within his residence. Now, this man is a Rastafarian, and I am an anti-theist and a realist. So know this. I just had to say it. Anyway, however, I do support religious freedom. Surprised? You shouldn't be. One should have a right to practice their religion or not. This is assuming it does not pose an immediate threat to one's life or the welfare of another. This is my thought process. Now, he stated, and I will read this so I don't mess it up here. He stated, quote, "Cultivating my own cannabis is my way of not contributing to the black market and drug dealing tactics. In my natural state, I don't believe in breaking any law. I know I am not harming anyone or causing any harm to the community." End quote. He should not have to resort to the reasoning that he has a right to practice his religion. Stating he has a right to secure his body autonomy should fulfill the requirement for coherent and logical thought. Federal, state, and local agencies should rarely, if ever, have the right to tell you what to do with your body. The exception I may make is if one is truly insane or emotionally stunted, therefore incapable of making rational decisions for themselves. Of course, when opening this door, one always has to concern themselves with the possibility of suffering as a result of false accusations, which has been purposefully constructed. Now, I wish all of my fellow Americans would listen closely, especially Black people. Listen, please, and consider these words. As greed, popular thought, and the need for bread and circuses abound, it becomes even more important that we as responsible citizens and consumers do what we can to influence the profit-driven machines. I'm speaking of apparatuses not concerned with the impact that their business practices are having on the environment, on our health, on our well-being. I'm speaking of the well-oiled machine that promotes the dumbing down of this country as it affects us daily via corporate exploitation, policy, and production. I do not have to make it clear that when ultra-conservatives or neocons speak of the middle class, they are addressing the white middle class. And of course, I cannot speak for all of them, but I feel secure in making that particular generalization because the evidence that I have been privy to appears to support that claim. Likewise, when religious freedoms are addressed, normally focus is placed on Christianity. To hell with everybody else, right? These same brainwashed individuals will turn their back on the fact that cannabinoids can be used to combat cancer. Of course, there are some who sadistically desire one to suffer the generalized toxic effects of conventional chemotherapies versus ingesting cannabinoids, which are usually well tolerated. These folks would claim I am full of ridiculous babble and sling a plethora of insulting comments my way. Yet, what of the researchers at the Medical College of Virginia way back in 1974 when I was a youngin'? You know, the ones who had been funded by the National Institutes of Health. Their mission, to secure evidence that marijuana damages the immune system. However, they found, instead, they found that THC slowed the growth of 3 kinds of cancer in mice. 3 kinds. One was a virus-induced leukemia. The other was breast and lung cancer. References, you ask? Okay, check out the report made in the Washington Post. I think it was August 18th. Yes, I believe it was August 18th, 1974. Search the paper, I'm sure you will find it. Now, getting back to Mr. Scott. Religious freedom is only secure as long as one is not in violation of the law. Law which is not carved on slabs of stone, but which are secular laws. So, let's put religion aside. The government needs to stay in an appropriate lane. Of course, they don't know how to do that, but they do need to do so. Of course, the sociopaths, which push irrational and restrictive actualities, sees you and I solely as articles of commerce and useless eaters. Yet, I do not see any influential members of the Tea Party standing up to the judicial branch. Of course not. They want their country back, they claim, yet they do truly nothing which is important to secure that for all people. You see, this we know is code for many of them. Basically, they desire the antebellum America to return to its former glory. Hallelujah. It is a damn shame that they will not look at the lucidity of my content because of their internalized biases. Yet they are willing to allow your sons and daughters to be casualties of the drug war and international terrorism. You know, the war in various foreign countries, all for the common good and humanitarian purposes. All that blood spilled. What happened to personal responsibility? I am no supporter of taxation or government regulation. However, I rather see this while the government and corporations reduces their grip on our pursuits, our daily pursuits. This I say in spite of my comprehension that few think of ethics in their pursuit, their quest for profits. The government is no different. This said, how about focusing on a safe, sane avenue for personal use, not to mention a hygienic one? This way, we would cut out drug-related crime, millions of ruined lives, drug cartels, and killings. Funny how a certain segment of America talks a good game, an energetic game about rugged individualism, yet will not invite personal responsibility to the table unless they are critiquing blacks after linking our skin to criminality. Thank you for viewing. I hope that you will share your thoughts with me. Be well.